All babies cry. Sometimes they cry a lot and sometimes it can be overwhelming. So how do you cope with the frustration? Here today with some advice on how to chill before you blow your stack is psychologist Sally Ann. Thanks for joining us, Sally.
Thanks for having me, Meredith.
Now, with frustration, with a newborn, especially crying is the number one factor, I think, which is really frustrating. Why is that?
Yeah, it's frustrating because we want to do the best for our children and we don't understand what they're saying. It's their only form of communication to start off with, and it's frustrating trying to do the very best that we can for our children and not understanding.
Yeah, sure. What are some other frustrations that you deal with? I mean, I know as the child develops through different stages, there's going to be other frustrating moments.
Some of the frustrations are the different stages of development. There's the lack of sleep is a major issue. Also planning. When we plan events and plan to do things, we often find that our child doesn't follow the routine or follow the schedule and don't actually do exactly what we expect them to do. We are the centre point of their universe in those younger years, and we need to make sure that we keep our own frustration levels in check. It's normal and human to feel frustrated, but what we can do as adults is to learn to look after ourselves and to find some way of controlling that, to stop transferring that anger and frustration into our children.
Okay, how do we do that?
We do things like relaxation activities, not while we're driving, but we actually might sit back for a minute and just take a few deep breaths, or we might think about our body. What is our body telling us right now? When we have feelings, when we feel frustration or whatever we might feel, the first thing that happens is our body changes, and we call that a physiological change. But our body changes. Often our heart beats faster, or we become flushed, or we have a dry mouth, or scrunching our fingers and toes, that sort of thing. We have those physiological or body changes. Because they're the first things that happen, we need to start noticing those, because then we can stop or prevent a huge explosion.
Okay, so once we identify the fact that our heart rate's a little higher, we're feeling a little flushed, our mouth's a little dry, we're about to lose the stack, what do we do then?
It depends what situation we're in. Obviously driving will be a different issue. If we're holding our baby and attempting to breastfeed, then we can take some big deep breaths first of all and try and calm ourselves down. Counting is a good way of doing that. Mm-hmm. A lot of psychologists would recommend breathing in for 3 and breathing out for 3. When we feel frustrated, we're actually thinking something. So what we might be thinking at that time is, this baby should be feeding right now, or I should be able to get out the door now, or I should be able to do something. And it's often a should word in our sentence. We need to be able to stop that thinking at that moment, because if our thought is, it's okay that I'm not getting out the door in time, if that's your thought, you can't be frustrated at that point. So if we can't control our thoughts at that moment, what we need to do is at least distract them.
So just from what you're saying, really, you just need to just chill out, basically, and not to have to basically lose expectations, try and lose any deadlines that you may have.
Absolutely. Flexibility is one of the things as parents we need to really take on board. It's a difficult one because we have plans, we have, some of us work, some of us have functions or obligations, and we need to find ways of trying to still do the things that we like to do and we want to do, but also managing our children and making sure that we manage our own expectations of how they should behave.
Okay, so just to get back, deep breaths are really valid. Counting to 3 or to 10 is great. Obviously checking your vital signs if you're going to be showing that you're frustrated. What's other things like distraction?
Distraction's good. White noise is good. Sometimes turning on a television or a CD or a radio is actually a good thing too. So the white noise. So you don't have to necessarily listen to it if you don't want to, but actually having it playing in the background can sometimes be enough of a distractor where you don't have all of these negative thoughts floating through your head or these frustrated thoughts going through your head. Also going for a run. We know that going for a run or doing some exercise or a walk is really good for our, the chemicals in our body. It actually helps us to stop feeling so frustrated and angry. it increases the serotonin level in our brain, which simply means that we can actually feel less stressed.
Okay. What are the different levels of frustration? You can be like just mildly frustrated, where you can just appease it by taking some deep breaths, or there may be more severe levels.
When our frustration gets to more severe levels, that's really when we need to get some help. I guess if you're actually exploding, if you're behaving inappropriately, if you're feeling the need to throw something, or some people do hurt their babies or do something damaging to them or around them, or hurt themselves, those definitely are the points where, if you haven't already sought help, you really need to.
Where can you go for help?
You need to go and see a doctor. There's a number of... Lifeline is one phone number that you can actually ring. There's Nurse on Call for some issues as well. A suicide helpline is another one.
Okay.
There's a number of different places and organisations that are set up ready for you to seek help, because we're not perfect, and it's really hard to deal with the issues that parents face. We have no experience of parenting. Often we don't live in families where our grandparents and aunts and uncles have children, so we haven't probably experienced what it's like, and all we ever hear are people telling us stories about how great and well behaved their children are. There's help out there.
Yeah.
And we
would
need
it
to
be like just calling a friend and just saying, help me, I'm not coping at the moment?
One idea is, if money is no object, then some people might find a babysitter or take them to a crate. If that's not a possibility, getting friends together. So another friend with a baby of a similar age might be a great way of trading an hour here and there during a week. So you can go home and sleep. Don't try and get housework done or any of those things, because that can wait. Yeah. Do something for you.
Definitely. Thank you so much for coming on the show and telling us how to deal with frustration and giving us some great tips. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Meredith.
Now, if you'd like some more help, or if you'd like to know where these organisations are, just jump on our website and there'll be details there. Thanks.